Okay, sorry I got cut off there, but it was getting to be a little bit longer than I thought. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the part 2 of the Unit 2 video. So what I've done so far is talk a little bit about Unit 2 and explain the assignment, the major assignment here. Where I left off was I was talking about the final research project that you guys will be doing, and trying to give you guys an idea of the variety of options you'll have there. So you might choose to write a research paper. You might choose to do a multimodal assignment that's either audio based or video based. You might talk with the members of the community that you've been working in and come up with a project that you both think would be useful. But basically, as long as you're supporting your project with research and making some kind of an argument, you will have a lot of flexibility in terms of what that final project eventually becomes. Okay, so I want to move on to the daily schedule here. We'll just talk about this briefly. I'll expect you to read it and let me know if you have questions in more depth. But basically, you'll see this week we have a lot of reading assigned from the textbook about doing research. I ask you to engage in a discussion that asks you to analyze a text, and then also some advertisements, and to start your first entry in your research process journal. Then we have spring break. You'll have no work due during that time. You should probably be thinking about your project 2, maybe doing some research, but I'm not going to ask you to actually submit something during that time. Week 10, more research. I'll share some student sample projects with you, and you'll evaluate them. We'll talk about them. I'll ask you to write a style analysis of a scholarly source that week as well, and continue in your research process journal. Then week 11, coming up pretty quickly here, you have a rough draft of project 2 due, and then you also do peer reviews. And then finally, the final version of project 2 will be due on April 7th. Okay, so now I want to talk a little bit about your research journal, which you will find directions for if you go back to the Unit 2 link, which is actually where we are. Click on week 8. And click, no, not there, here, Journal 2.2 Research Process Journal. Okay. So, as I mentioned, I'll ask you to do 3 entries, just so this video doesn't get too long. I don't want to go through everything here, but basically I've created deadlines so that there's one due during week 10, one due during this has got to be week 12, I believe. Let's go back to the schedule here. No, okay, one due during week 8 here, and one due during week 10. I will make that change to the documents you have. Okay, and then one due week 11. So you do have some flexibility with your third one. I'm asking for a pre-spring break, a post-spring break, and then either one in between or after that. I'm not going to be really picky here about exactly when you post these, but what I want to see is posted entries over time, not all done right before. So far I've only given you directions for the first entry, which is due this week, and I'm going to ask you to explore or to write about some criteria that you'll use to evaluate sources, and to review some resources that you have from the U of H library that you can use as you research. Okay, now if we go back to this intro Unit 2 materials, you'll see that there's the extra credit options, which I've already opened here. Okay, so first I want to give you some rules for extra credit. It's really, really important to me that you guys follow these so that's really easy for me to access your extra credit, grade it, and record it. If it's really complicated for me to do that, you're not going to receive extra credit, or you won't receive full extra credit. So, for example, I want you to submit it to me via email. Most of you guys can probably handle that. It's really important that you include a subject line that says English 1304 gives your section number, which just since we're doing a video, I can show you. So I have 2 sections of English 1304. But you will see the course section number up here on Blackboard. So this is 17161. The other one is like, I want to say 11881. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it has 2 1s and 2 8s in it. So you need to note that number so that I know exactly how to get to you in the grade book. Tell me it's extra credit. Tell me what option you've chosen. And then please follow the directions. I know that seems obvious, but sometimes people do everything else right and then they don't follow the directions for extra credit. Extra credit takes extra time for me to create assignments and also for me to grade them, so I'm not going to spend extra time trying to give you the directions again. So it's your responsibility to do that. So these options will be filed under the discussions, quizzes, and journal section of the gradebook for 20%. So basically what these assignments allow you to do is make up for lost points on any of those assignments. And you'll see out of these options you have the opportunity to receive up to 300 points, which would replace 3 zeros in the discussions, quizzes, or journal section. You can do these even if you don't have those zeros if you'd like. So these are for anybody. And I just want to let you know about this one that's coming up. It's attached to the library lesson that you're completing for Friday, and it's a mind map PDF. It looks like it'd be pretty easy to do. That's one option. Another is a style analysis of a New York Times op-ed piece. Another is extra entries in your research process journal. And then finally, you'll have the option of responding to my comments and either planning for or thinking through revision. So here you can see the option, the name, the due date, and the number of points that you could receive, up to the number of points you can receive. Okay, so I think that's everything I want to talk about now. If you have any questions, please let me know. Please send me an email. As I mentioned here, I'm just going to go over this because it's important in this last paragraph here. I have a pretty crazy schedule coming up this month. I'll be out of town for a conference in Tampa next week, and then I have my final comprehensive exam for my doctoral coursework the week after. So that means that I'll be checking in and out, but I will not regularly be somewhere. So I might not get to all of your journals right away. So if you have pressing questions that come up, or you want to talk about your project, please send me an email and I will definitely get back to you that way. All right, hope you guys have a good week and I will see you online.